to take this chance to apologize to absolutely nobody. It's time!
It's Sunday, March 6th, 2022. This is the Church of MMA podcast. My name is Tabor Cragen.
My name is Mason Knight. This is episode 111, UFC 272 recap. After that, we jump to some MMA news, and then we talk about the UFC fight night, Thiago Santos versus Magomed Ankalaev. But before we do all that, Tabor, where do we begin?
With our very own website, Mason. You're actually one. With our very own website, Mason, thechurchofmma.com. Guys, it gives you links to every single social media account. It gives you links to our YouTube, our Patreon, all of that cool stuff. Get yourself some church merch on our Teespring store. Get yourself some Let's Go Brandon merch. Get yourself a hat. So much more coming. A face mask. All that stuff you need. The necessities are there. Get yourself a mug. Get all that stuff. All of that stuff goes right back into the show. Guys, it helps us out so much. Everything you do helps us out a lot. Like I said, Patreon, $5 a month gives you exclusive content, exclusive Patreon, exclusive podcasts, audio-only podcasts, live streams, call-in shows, so much more. If you want to bet for this bad boy right fucking here, this belt right in front of me, the Church Coin Championship belt, that is the upper tier, guys. You need to be a $10 a month subscriber to bet alongside of us in that Church Coin competition. Shout out to Cosmo Reverb. You've been in the last couple series. You did not get the belt, my guy, but you are looking at the new undisputed Church Coin Champ. Go ahead and hit it. I thought you were going to hit it.
Well, I was going to hit it, but actually I got to do this real quick and give it to me.
Ooh, I thought you were going to hit the fart button.
Absolutely not. I got to put some respect on the new Church Coin Champ of the world. It was a fun month for me, but I did not defend the belt. So was I ever a true champion if I did not defend? That's the $1 million question right there, folks. Probably
it is what
not.
it is.
It is what it is.
Yeah, the cool thing about this series we're doing right now, man, is like it's going to go back and forth a lot. I know it is, and it's going to make it a lot more fun. It's going to make it a lot more. I think it is.
Or you go on a fat run, dude.
I don't know.
On a big run.
I don't know.
We'll see.
Yeah, I am pretty good. Thank you. Not trying to toot my own. No, but seriously, guys, we did a fight companion last night for UFC 272, and we had special guests in the building. Pardon my American podcast. Like, I don't know what else to say other than thank you so much, guys, for showing up last night. It was a fucking absolute blast having you guys in studio. We were doing shoeies left and right. We talked about a whole lot of crazy shit. Dude, we didn't even watch the fights. The conversation was just too good. We were just fucking going on a roll. So if you guys haven't checked that fight companion out, make sure you go and do it. And also, go check out Pardon My American Podcast. They have 2 YouTube channels right now, okay? They have a backup channel, which is what they're live streaming to at the moment because their first YouTube channel, they're in a little bit of a lull situation. That's all I'm going to say. Go follow them.
Yeah, fuck you, YouTube.
Yeah, seriously, fuck you, YouTube. Those guys are awesome, man. So shout out to them. Thank you so much for showing up. They did not need to, and they totally showed up and made the show one of the best shows we've done, Mason.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, no, it was a phenomenal time and a blast. And I got to be honest, I didn't go to bed till 1:30, and then I got up at 6 to rewatch all the fights. And I am glad that I did. A lot of fights last night. UFC 272 went to decision too, so a very long night, but well worth it. A lot of fun.
Because remember they were saying, maybe we could do an hour. Maybe an hour or two. You know, it's a long day tomorrow. We got to do. They were here for 4 hours and getting hammered with us. Yeah. They had an absolute blast. They kept on telling us that they had so much fun. They loved the wheel spins. Shout out to everyone that was sending in super chats last night. You guys made the show with the wheel spins. We had an absolute fucking great time last night. And shout out to you, Devin, on the 1s and 2s. Heaven Devin. That's your new nickname now.
Heaven Devin. Let's go.
Yeah, Heaven Devin on the 1s and 2s, man. Seriously, though, dude, like, you were fucking hilarious last night.
Yeah, you were.
You were absolutely hilarious, man. It was had me dying several times. So,
and not only that, but, like, just the fact that you're running the board for 4 hours, hitting the 1s, 2s, 3s, and 4s with all the camera angles and everything, that's a very daunting task, and it takes a long time. So we appreciate the hell out of you, man.
Absolutely.
We really do.
100% echo that sentiment. It's time, Mason. Let's get into a recap. As always, guys, the main event of the evening for UFC 272, it was Chaos Colby Covington versus Jorge Masvidal. Oh, my goodness. A lot of judges, I think one judge had it 50-44. Did you see any of those rounds as a 10-8 situation there?
I got to be honest, no, not a 10-8. I was kind of shocked that one judge had it 10-8. It was probably Sal, I guess.
Yeah.
But no, I mean,
that.
I'll get right into it, okay? We knew the game plan of Colby Covington coming in was to primarily work on the grappling and the wrestling, and that's exactly what he did. But a true testament, my hat's off to Jorge Masvidal. I mean, these guys were throwing with malice. I mean, obviously, these two hate each other. Jorge did a good job primarily of trying to defend those takedowns, and I thought to some extent he was successful. But Colby Covington is just relentless, and he never stops, dude. He never stops. It's absolutely incredible. But there were a couple times, man, when Colby would take him, and then Jorge's dropping these elbows on Colby, and Colby was in a tough spot there.
Real compromised position.
He had to readjust there a few times. But man, what a main event! This fight really did live up to the hype, and shout out to both guys, man. I mean, a really great fight, and it lived up to all the beef, everything. And Jorge doesn't have much to be upset about. Yeah, he did lose the fight, and he did lose every round, in my opinion. But it was, but in all seriousness, like. They really put it out on the line. Like, you could tell Jorge was tired, but he kept going. He kept trying. He never gave up. And, like, I respect it. Even though he did lose 5 rounds, like, I just got so much respect for Jorge Masvidal and what he was able to do. And he had
decent takedown defense, I'd say.
Well, yeah, but let's also keep in mind that he had his bright moments in this fight as well. That 4th round, he dropped Colby. Like, dropped him, and I thought Colby was in trouble. But Colby Covington, man, with that cardio, with that second lung, as he likes to call it, which is hilarious in its own right. But Colby he can just rebound so fast. It's so impressive, man. But
Devin, were you saying yesterday in the group chat that Sal D'Amato gave Jorge the 2nd round or something like that? Because one judge did have it 49-46.
No, I was saying that Sal gave him Colby all 10 rounds, and that the first judge, I'll look it up real quick, actually gave Jorge the 2nd round.
That's insane to me. Yeah. I don't know how the fuck you'd give Jorge that 2nd round.
You can give him the 4th.
I think that's the 4th, fair. Yeah.
With that drop, like if a judge would have 49-46 gave Jorge the 4th because of that knockdown, that flash knockdown, okay, that's fine. Whatever. It is what it is, because we all knew Colby won that fight with the wrestling, but very strange for that 2nd round to give to Jorge Masvidal. And I just rewatched that this morning. I did not see that 2nd round Jorge Masvidal winning it, but hey.
It is what it is.
Junichiro Kamijo, I believe is how you pronounce his name.
Oh, okay.
Gave Jorge the 2nd round.
Okay, so I did not see that happening. Shout out to Joseph Bellotti in the chat. Can we stop making excuses for Masvidal and just say he was too emotional and put pressure on himself, man? Yeah, I kind of agree with you. I think there was a lot of emotion coming into this fight. And, when you're fighting a guy like Colby Covington with the shit talk, the character, the persona he puts on, it's hard not to get emotional, man.
Yeah.
I would say, I mean, even look at Usman, as cool, calm, and collected as he usually is. Even he was emotional in that fight. And maybe because of that, that's why it was so competitive. But I don't want to shit on Colby and on his cardio and all this stuff. Like, he is the 2nd best welterweight in the world right now. Like, we could all agree on that. Asterisk to Khamzat Chimaev. I'd love to see that matchup.
Of course.
Who knows what happens there?
He's got the biggest test with Gilbert Burns, and we will see.
We will see.
But again, Colby Covington, you have to look at the course of his career, everything that he's done. Khamzat's only had a few fights in the UFC. I think he's a great prospect, but we got to put the respect on Colby Covington. And for everything that Colby Covington is, all the shit talk and everything, like, he's fun, he's dynamic, he's entertaining, and, like, he puts his money where his mouth is. Yeah, he talks shit, and he does cross lines where you're like, dude, this guy's an asshole. Like, Dana White in the post-fight press conference, it was so funny because one of the reporters brought up, they're like, you've had the problems with Colby, and he goes, what? I don't have problems with Colby. What are you talking about? He goes, I think Colby's a fucking asshole. And he's like, but everyone agrees right here. And then everyone's kind of laughing because it is true. Like, this is just what Colby is. This is what he does. This is how he sells pay-per-views. And I don't know, man. Like, as much as sometimes I think he crosses the line, like, I respect it because he puts his money where his mouth is, and he fucks shit up, dude.
Yeah.
He really does.
Yeah, I mean, look up Conor McGregor, and he had that famous post-speech. It's like, everyone talks about how I talk, and I talk, but I back it up.
Yep.
But I back it up. That's Colby, man. He backs it up. I mean, he looked fantastic, dude. He not only did he look fantastic in the wrestling aspect, he was keeping. I mean, this is what my breakdown was. He was going to pull the RDA fight all over again. He was going to push Jorge up against the fence. He was going to grind him into it. And if he gets a takedown, he gets a takedown. He didn't have to get it every single time. And then when they separated, he was unloading combinations and he was landing, and his head movement was fantastic as well. He was outstriking Jorge Masvidal in a lot of those exchanges, man. We have to give Colby Covington. We know he's a wrestler, but his striking is so improved, man. People don't talk about that enough.
Yeah.
They really don't talk about how good his hands are, how good his kicks are, and everything. He is the complete package. And, man, I don't want to get right into his future right now because, Kamaru Usman did come out there and say, maybe down the line I do a third fight with him. Why not? Eventually, you might have to do that if Colby keeps on dominating guys, but there's a lot of matchups you can make right now with Colby Covington, and I would favor him in a lot of these, man.
Absolutely.
I'm going to be real. Colby is the kind of guy to maybe, not take a Khamzat Chimaev fight.
Yeah.
Not trying to shit on him, but I just don't see him ever taking a fight like that, as much shit as he talks about the guys. But, you do Colby Covington, Gilbert Burns, you do Colby Covington versus Leon Edwards, you do Colby Covington versus name a fucking guy, and I'm probably taking Colby in all of those fights.
Yeah, so that's kind of the thing here. Obviously, Leon Edwards versus Kamaru Usman is set for July tentatively now. You have Gilbert Burns versus Khamzat Chimaev. I actually understand the strategic call-out from Colby Covington to call out Dustin Poirier. One,
Yes.
obviously, ATT. He was calling it.
There's so much beef there as well. It's
of
another
course.
Jorge Masvidal situation.
And because you kind of have to let this welterweight division kind of play itself out. We got to see what happens with Leon Edwards in July and then Khamzat and Gilbert. I think it's a great idea. Like Colby said, he wants to get right back at it and he wants to fight on International Fight Week. Why do you think that is? Oh, that's right. Kamaru Usman, Leon Edwards. And I'm telling you right now, I think Colby Covington has to win 2 more fights. And if he wins them decisively, the same way he went out there and beat Jorge Masvidal, he could take, if Khamzat does beat Gilbert, I think he's probably the next guy in line. But then you can either take Leon Edwards or Gilbert Burns coming off a loss if he gets Poirier in July, right? I think he's 2 fights away from another title. And we got to keep this in mind too. Colby Covington is still in the prime of his career. He's only 34 years old. A little bit different situation now than Jorge Masvidal. He's now 37. This is 3 straight losses. Yes, 2 back-to-back to the undisputed pound-for-pound greatest fighter in the UFC right now, Kamaru Usman. But now to lose to Colby Covington, they're kind of on 2 different paths, right? So I like Colby by next year. He did lose twice to Usman, but they're very competitive. And I think he's the most competitive guy right now in the welterweight division. Asterisk to Khamzat Chimaev, but we got to see what he does against Burns. But I respect the hell out of Colby. I don't always agree with the shit that he says, but I'm a fan of him, man. I'm a fan of him. And at the end of the day, what is he doing? He's putting his name out there. He's making money. And some guys just got to be the heels. Some guys got to be heels to make money, like Chael Sonnen. Chael did a lot of that shit where you're like, bro, you crossed some lines. But now Chael's a household name. He's got a great podcast. He's one of the best around. So it is what it is. On that. But Colby is fucking legit, dude.
Yeah, shout out to S. Dresden in the chat. Khamzat will absolutely dismantle Colby, and I'm not going to disagree, dude.
I won't disagree.
I think Khamzat's the next champ. I think he not only dismantles, I think he just beats everyone in this division. Asterisk and Usman. That's it. That's the most competitive fight for him. And even then, I would not be shocked if Khamzat just smashes Usman for 3 straight rounds. But, we'll find out. The future is very bright for Khamzat and Colby. So Dustin Poirier, that's the only fight to make right now, I think. It's what sells more. Colby Leon, Colby Gilbert, or Colby Dustin. I think Colby Dustin because you could sell the beef. You could sell the animosity there.
Yeah, you could. And then, obviously, we also have to talk about this. Vicente Luque, Bilal, remember the name Muhammad. Yes. They've got to fight together now. So, again, we have to see where this welterweight division goes out. But I like it. I like the grudge match. Dustin Poirier's, the good guy, the Good Fight Foundation charity. He's a really stand-up individual. And then you've got the heel, Colby Covington, talking shit. ATT, saying it's a trash place.
Calling him a cuck.
Calling him a cuck and stuff, yeah.
Sorry, I'd muted. I could hear you eating.
Didn't Dustin say that he wouldn't fight Colby in the ring? That he would have to do it outside the ring?
Out in the streets.
Yeah.
And
so he would never fight him in the ring. So are we going to see that, you think, down the road?
I got to be honest with you.
If the money's right?
It does not. With Dustin Poirier now losing 2 title fights by submission, For Dustin, I don't know if that fight makes as much sense as it does for Colby because, one, that fight will be at welterweight, which does nothing for Dustin's career other than it being a grudge match. And that's a great point that you bring up. I don't think Dustin does take that fight. because there's nothing really for him unless he gets paid heavy. And Colby Covington does the same thing that he did with Jorge
think about it,
Masvidal,
though, but if
and
he
not get the pay-per-view
If
points.
he beats Colby, you're beating the number one contender in a new division. Like, that immediately catapults him to almost a title shot, you know? So maybe the incentive is there.
So, yes.
Just to play devil's advocate, because I do agree with you, actually.
You're actually absolutely right. If Dustin in his career, if he does not, like, that's actually a really good point, Tabor. Because if Dustin wants to move up a weight division, a weight class, then take the fight. Because you're right. You beat a Colby Covington. You're right in line, dude. But the welterweight division is just so weird right now. We got so many fights that we still got to see. I don't know strategically if Dustin does want to move up or not. I mean, let's keep in mind, let's remember this. Dustin Poirier early in his career was a featherweight.
Yeah.
You know, but he's a big 155er. Colby Covington in the post-fight press conference was talking about Dustin, saying that he's a bully because he's got to cut all this weight to get to 155 when he's actually naturally a 170 the same way Colby Covington is. But yeah, you bring up a great point, and I like that. I love the fight, and I'd love to see it, and I'd love to see Dustin move to a new weight class. Now losing 2 title fights, it makes sense.
And I think they're both true 165ers. It would be very easy for Colby to make 165. I think he is a 165er. He's too big to make 155, so that's why he stays at 170. And he's that dominant. He's the second best welterweight in the world.
Yeah.
So if there was a 165-pound division, you know Usman's not making that.
No.
He barely makes 170 sometimes. So, I mean, he would be the champ, I think, at 165. Other than maybe like a Khabib. If Khabib didn't retire or something like that, like, it's very interesting. Because I actually think that they match up very well because I don't think Colby's that much bigger than Dustin. I think they're actually around the same size. I do believe both these men are 165ers.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. And you know, we're beating a dead horse here because we've talked about it so much, how we'd love to see a new weight class, 165, because you do have so much tremendous talent within these two divisions especially. But I just do not foresee it happening. But who knows? Sometimes they just surprise the hell out of you. We never thought we'd ever see a BMF belt. That was so random, but it did happen. So maybe one day we do get a 165 division. But the UFC has got such a great pool of talent now that it would be nice to get that additional weight class, you know. But, I mean, only time will tell on that.
Yeah. So we talked enough about Colby. Let's talk about Jorge Masvidal. Like, what happens next for him? Like, does he keep fighting? Is it time for maybe him to think about retirement or just take money fights?
Well,
maybe a Nate Diaz rematch or something like that and then ride off into the sunset?
Well, he did just sign that 3-fight deal right before this Colby Covington fight. So he's got 3 more fights on his contract. He's only 37 years old. He's a superstar. Say what you will. Yes, he does lose, but so does Conor. So does Nate. And they're still superstars in the UFC, okay? So, like, with Jorge Masvidal, he's got options. He's got a lot of options. I mean, one, Nate Diaz, of course, the BMF belt. That fight's always going to sell, depending on what Nate Diaz does with Conor or whatever the hell's going on there. Conor McGregor as well at 170. I mean, who would not want to see that striking matchup? Conor McGregor versus Jorge Masvidal. There are options here, but I think in this point in Jorge Masvidal's career, every fight's a big money fight for him because I don't foresee him fighting for a belt again. You know, at 37 years old, he'll have to string together 3 or 4 wins, and then it's a tough sell on top of that because he's lost twice to Kamaru Usman, got knocked out the second time. So I think realistically for Jorge, I still love watching him fight. I think he's an awesome fighter. I think he's a good dude, and yeah, I think it's big money fight. So a Nate Diaz, Conor McGregor.
I agree with you, but let's say both those. You're right. It's Nate Diaz, Conor. Yeah. Like, if he was smart, those are the only fights he would take. But let's say both of those fights are off the table. Let's say Conor goes down to 155, tries to make it a run or whatever, and Nate Diaz, like, they don't want to let. I don't know. Nate Diaz seems way more realistic. But let's just say both those fights are off the table. This is the name I would love to see.
Okay.
Jeff Hands of Steel Neal versus Jorge Masvidal.
Now, as far as strategically, like that matchup, stylistically, I love that, Tabor. I really do, and I think that's a great name that you bring up. My only concern with that is with Jorge Masvidal, I don't know if he would take that because he's such a big star, but he is also on a 3-fight losing streak, and maybe that's the win you need to propel yourself because he'll have 2 more fights on his contract after that. So that fight very well could happen. It very, very well could, and I love that match.
You also have, like, Neil Magny out there and, like, Michael Chiesa and stuff like that. Well,
that one's not going to happen. But Jeff Neal.
I like Jeff Neal
stylistically,
a lot.
that's fun because you know they're just going to stand and bang.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Absolutely, 100%.
And that's what Jorge needs right now. Like, I don't want to see Jorge Masvidal take on another wrestler. He took on Kamaru Usman twice and now Colby Covington. And, you know, his takedown defense is getting better, but it's not at that elite level yet. And like, still a lot of credit to Jorge, man. He tried everything humanly possible, but it's just not quite there yet. So hands of steel, Jeff Neal, I like that. I like that matchup.
Yeah, S. Dresden, the way he is losing is bad, though, brother. Yeah, we know. He got completely dominated there by Usman twice, and now he's completely dominated again by Colby. I mean, who's been on a losing streak like that as of late, just getting completely dominated? I mean, off the top of my head, I'm thinking like, who's on a 3-fight losing streak? I'm brain farting for some reason. Either way, like
I think Sam Alvey.
Well, I think it's like 8 or 11 fight lose streak. But you know what? I do troll Sam a little bit, but like honestly, his next matchup, man, I really hope he gets a W. Just because I like the guy so much.
I'm thinking more like Connor. Like he's kind of in a Connor situation. So maybe that is the only fight to make for the two. Because it's such a big payday. Situation. Yeah. So shout out to Joseph Bellotti before we move on. Barboza was never the same after the Khabib fight. P.S. Coach Khabib was pissed off last night. Yeah, he did lose his undefeated record there, my guy.
I have never seen Khabib Nurmagomedov behave like that. Not to say that it was out of line. I totally understand. He's a coach. He was very mad at Tim Elliott with the glove where he'd pull him in and then punch him because that is an illegal move. You shouldn't do it. And I get why Khabib was mad, but it was weird. It was out of character because Khabib is always that very like
cool, calm,
keeps his emotions in check. But Khabib was on one last night, and rightfully so. Nothing wrong with getting upset about that, especially as a coach. You want what's best for your fighters. But yeah, it was just weird. It was weird seeing Khabib like that. And Khabib was inducted into the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah, amazing. Shout out to you, Khabib.
Of course.
Let's get into church coin picks. So I had I went all in on Colby, and so after I added it all up, that was 5,529 church coin on Colby, and that gave me at a minus 330. That gave me a return of 1,675 church coin. Cosmo, you had 1K on Colby, and that gave you a return of 303 church coin, my guy.
Yeah, I put 3,300 on Colby, got 1,000 church coin return at a minus 330, and then I also had Colby by decision at a minus 110. I put 500 church coin and got a return of 454.
Yeah, my prop, I hedged my bet. I had Jorge KO just in case, just say fuck it, but why not? That did not hit, so I lost 250 church coin there. Cosmo, your prop was also Colby decision, and that gave you a return of 454 church coin as well for 500 bet there. Let's move on to the co-main event of the evening. We had RDA versus Renato Moicano in a 5-round catchweight bout at 160 pounds. So before we even talk about this fight, it was not Islam Makhachev because everyone thought that was the fight they were going to make. Islam was still there in Vegas from the week before with that fight, and apparently that fight was damn near made. Dana White said he went to bed that night thinking that fight was done. Yep. And then woke up the next morning and found out it wasn't, and that it was Renato now. And I think Dana got a little pissed because he even came out and said that, okay, Islam didn't take the fight. We're going to remake the Dariush fight.
Yep. Well, let's talk about this. I don't want to get too sidetracked, but it is
because we're talking about McConnell.
Because we are talking about it, but it is relevant. You obviously have Conor McGregor, and there's a lot of rumors, and I can't believe this fucking shit is coming out of my mouth right now. But of course they're going to rebook Islam Makhachev, Beneil Dariush. You want to know why? Because they're going to give Conor some tomato can. He's going to get a W and get the next shot after UFC 274, Gaethje versus Oliveira. And that's what's so frustrating about it is I see the writing on the wall right now. Conor has lost 3 of his last 4 fights. His last win was against Donald Cowboy Cerrone, losing twice to Dustin Poirier. Like, I just, it's so frustrating to me, but it is what it is. The Islam Makhachev Beneil Dariush is still a really wonderful fight, and I think that is the true, undisputed number 1 contender fight in this lightweight division. I mean, am I wrong here? No. So, but you know what? Conor's going to get a shot. What the fuck ever. Like, I'm just so over that. I'm so over it. Yes, that is a warranted fart button. Thank you so much. Mm-hmm. But yeah, so on the side of Islam here, let's talk about this. Why do you think he did not take this fight? Because, this fight was scheduled so many different times. RDA versus Islam was scheduled 2 or 3 times. And this, I really felt, was Islam's opportunity to seal a number 1 contender for the next guy in line.
I think it's because it was only on 3 or 4 days' notice, and they wanted it at 160. Yeah. And Islam was calling for that fight at 170.
Yes.
So maybe the weight cutting issues had a thing that maybe he just couldn't have made weight.
And you know what? That's really a fair point too, because it's so hard for a guy to make weight twice, especially after a fight, and you don't know what little nagging injuries that they may have, like his toe could have been fucked up. His finger could have been fucked up. Like, we don't really know Islam's health. So, it's fine with me. We're going to rebook the Islam Makhachev, Beneil Dariush. I just hope for a speedy recovery for Beneil, because that is a fight I still am very interested and excited to see.
Yeah, absolutely, 100%.
But on the side of this,
Islam deserves a title shot. He doesn't need to take that fight, but I think Dana is a little pissed off now that this fight didn't get made. So I think it is what it is.
It is what it is. But you know what? Let's talk about
Renato Moicano.
Let's talk about RDA versus Renato Moicano. First and foremost, RDA looked fantastic in this fight. He won all 5 rounds. Or 4 at least, I would say. But the 5th round. But let's talk. I want to touch up on RDA. But let me go to Renato Moicano first for being a fucking savage, taking this fight on 4-day notice after his very impressive win over Alexander Hernandez just a week or 2 ago. And then coming out here on short notice, but not just taking a fight on short notice, taking a 5-round fight against a top guy in this lightweight division.
A former lightweight champion. I think RDA was number 6 at the time. And yes, I know it's catchweight, guys, but give him a little grace. He had like 4 days to make weight. I was super impressed with the heart of Renato Moicano. That 3rd round, RDA head kicked him. I thought the fight was over because RDA just barraged him. RDA did everything he could to finish that fight, but Moicano is just so incredibly tough. After the 4th round, Bisping, Rogan, they're like, guys, we got to call this. We got to, at some point, throw in the towel. It's not worth it. Live to fight another day. The guy took the fight on short notice. But I want to talk about also the professionalism of Mark Goddard and the doctor and how they went about dissecting this eye injury, because it was brutal, man. Yeah.
That eye injury was a nasty thing. And, Mark, starting off the 5th round, went over to Moicano and said, hey, if I don't see something out of you in the first 30 seconds, this fight is over. And then Moicano goes out there in the 5th round after getting, outclassed, respectfully, outclassed against RDA for those 4 rounds. And he comes out and has a really good 5th round, man, and actually gets back up. That butterfly sweep was fucking awesome, dude, where he just flings RDA over and gets back to his feet. He had a lot of bright moments in round 5. Renato Moicano, bro, he's a savage. He's a gangster. Like, my respect level for him has just gone up so much after these last 2 weeks, dude. And you know what? I really do hope that he continues to get a top 15 after this matchup and deserves a full training camp, too. But on the side of RDA, man, did everything he wanted to do. Implemented that ground game really, really well and effectively. The jiu-jitsu was on point. There were a few times where I thought RDA was going to finish this fight. And, for everything that everyone said, Tabor, for so long, people were throughout this whole thing, they're like, oh, RDA's past his prime. He's 36, 37. He's kind of on the tail end. I don't know if he's going to get a win or anything. Got to say, man, he looked really good, and that cardio held up for 5 rounds.
Yeah. Yep, absolutely. Echo everything you just said. I'm just going to repeat it, man. Shout out to Renato Moicano. He didn't have to come out there and do that, and he did. So, just so much respect to him. Absolutely deserves a top 15 matchup. But what do we do with RDA now? I know that they want to remake the Beneil Dariush Islam Makhachev fight.
Yes.
But, we do have Justin Gaethje, Charles Oliveira coming up very, very soon. Next couple months. So if, give RDA a couple months rest, give Islam a couple months rest, give them a full training camp. And I say you make that matchup if Beneil Dariush's ankle does not heal in time, because I want Islam to get another win under his belt so he can get that title fight come July, come August, come October. You know what I'm saying? Like, he deserves a title fight, man. And so if they need to make Islam fight one more time, do RDA or Beneil, whoever gets healthy first.
Yeah, and I think realistically, I think that's a good idea, especially if Beneil cannot get healthy in time. You do Islam, RDA, and just give them both a full training camp. Or you do this. So it is speculative. I believe it actually was just confirmed, but we have a Michael Chandler, Tony Ferguson. He could also potentially take on the winner of that fight, too. Yeah. Because that'll be a few months down the road. I also like that matchup for RDA, because could you imagine RDA versus Michael Chandler?
Oh, fucking sign me
That'd
the fuck up.
Fun. Or Tony Ferguson,
if Tony fucking guts out this fucking losing streak and gets a victory over Michael Chandler, the rematch of RDA Tony Ferguson, are you shitting me? I would sign me up, dude. Sign me up right now. Mainline it into my veins.
Yeah, so there's a lot of options for RDA right now.
Yeah. Let's get into church coin picks. So I had 500. Originally, I took Fiziev in that fight. You could also remake that matchup as well when Fiziev gets healthy. He did come down with COVID, so who knows how long that recovery will take him. He did get a very bad fever, he was saying. So hopefully you make a full recovery, Fiziev, because I know a lot of guys, like, look at Khamzat Chimaev, like, he had a extremely difficult time coming back from that.
Well, it was also Khamzat just continuing to train
when he wasn't ready.
Really sick.
Yeah.
You know, so hopefully, like, when these guys do get sick, that they take the time needed to recover and then get back to the gym when you're ready to go, when you're tip-top Magoo.
Yeah, so I'm fine with that matchup as well. If Fiziev come back healthy, you could do that fight too, and I would love to watch that fight. But I did change my pick to RDA when this Renato Moicano matchup got made, so I just kept my original church coin bet for 500 church coin, and that gave me a return of 294 church coin because RDA was a minus 170 favorite in that matchup.
Yeah, it was crazy how the odds changed so much. I put 750 church coin on RDA and got a return of 441.
Yeah, Cosmo, you were all in on RDA, but the thing was, Cosmo, is you were borrowing church coin with this, so we didn't even add it up. But I do know that I think your return was like 1,000 church coin or something like that. We just didn't add it up because you were pulling from the bank there. It was a little funny, but it is what it is, man. Shout out to you. Let's move on to the next matchup. We have Edson Barboza versus Bryce Thug Nasty Mitchell. Oh my goodness, dude. Okay, so first things first. We all know Bryce Mitchell was going to go take Edson Barboza down if that was his game plan. That was the way he was. But, I mean, what was it, the second or the third round? Bryce landed a beautiful right hand and dropped Barboza bad. Had him hurt really bad.
That was round number 1.
That was the first round?
That was the first round. I just rewatched that this morning.
Insane. He was very competitive on the feet.
Yes,
no one thought he was going to be competitive on the feet. Bryce Mitchell, Thug Nasty, is a legitimate 145-pound contender, dude. To do that to Edson Barboza, to completely dominate the man on the ground, and even win some striking exchanges, like, shout out to Thug Nasty, bro. With the camo shorts, showed out. He would have lost if he didn't have those camo shorts, man.
I do believe that. No, you know, I obviously want to talk about Bryce Mitchell's performance because he impressed the living hell out of me, just how dominant he was against a legend of the sport like Edson Barboza. But I want to talk a little bit more about the post-fight and what exactly Bryce Mitchell is. You know, me and Devin were kind of joking around a little bit because he was on the MMA Hour with Ariel Helwani, and he, you know, it was a little unhinged at times what he was talking about, and I didn't know if he was going to be focused. That's why I went with Edson Barboza. But, you know, Bryce Mitchell, like, I don't always necessarily have to agree with every little thing that he says. I agree with a lot, but, like, he is a very good individual, and he got 45 and 45 for this fight. 45 for the fight and then 45 for the win. And he came out and said that he was going to donate $45,000 to help children in Arkansas, where he's from.
Stand-up guy, dude.
It was just such a beautiful thing. And then Dana White comes in and says, hey, I want you to keep that money. He goes, don't worry about it. We're going to donate $45,000 to kids in need in Arkansas. And then Bryce Mitchell in the post-fight interview, you know, he comes out and he's like, you know, yeah, Dana did say he's going to take care of it, but, you know, and I appreciate that, Dana, and thank you very much, but I'm going to donate money. He goes, it won't be 45,000, but you know what? I got to donate money too. Because he just cares. You know, he had an epiphany last year. He became a Christian. He got saved. And he's really just changed his life quite a bit. And I got a lot of respect for guys like that who are just so open and honest about their faith and what they believe in. And it was really good. And it gave me a little bit different perspective of Bryce Mitchell from the MMA Hour and then, like, who he is as a person. It was just a really beautiful thing. And I like seeing guys like that in the UFC, you know?
Yeah. I am so high on Bryce Mitchell right now, dude. I really am. Like you said, he's a fantastic human being. I love the guy. He's talking a lot of politics too. Like, he's trying to voice his opinions out there. And I know people are like, who is this uneducated guy from Arkansas with a funny accent and all this stuff? Like, man, the guy's speaking a lot of truth, and I really enjoy that stuff because, you know, this is one of the few sports that, like, you could really speak your mind and you're not going to get criticized for it, you know, because, like, I mean, look at the NBA and all that stuff that was happening a couple years ago. So shout out to Bryce Mitchell for that. But I want to talk about his future, man. Like, what do we do next with Bryce Mitchell? He did just defeat number 10, Edson Barboza, coming off that loss to Giga Chikadze. The problem with these matchups, man, is there's so many people in front of him that, like, want a top 5 matchup. So, I mean, I don't see an Arnold Allen taking the fight. I don't see a Josh Emmett taking the fight. Maybe Giga Chikadze coming off that Calvin Kattar loss would take that. But, I mean, Can we just slot him against the top 5 guy? Can we say, okay, you beat Barboza, who's a huge name, a big star in the sport? Can we see a Bryce Mitchell-Calvin Kattar matchup?
So my short answer is yes, absolutely. Bryce Mitchell not just beat Edson Barboza, but he dominated Edson Barboza, who is a legend of the sport.
And I have to say,
10-8 on 2 judges' scorecards.
That's exactly what I was going to mention. 30-25?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a testament to just how good Bryce Mitchell is. And keep in mind, guys, he is undefeated. He's a top featherweight guy coming up in this division here. I am totally okay giving him a Calvin Kattar. Absolutely. You know, I would even go as high. After that dominating win in such a good striker like Edson Barboza, I'm even high enough on Yair Rodriguez.
I knew that was going to say either that or like Brian Ortega or something like that coming off that title shot loss. Like, why not? Let's slot this guy into a massive fight. Let's see what he could do against the top echelon of this division. I'm high on him. I know people are going to be like, pump the brakes, guys. Pump the brakes. He hasn't even beaten someone inside the top 10. Get him a single-digit number first or something like that. But I just don't know, man. Is Arnold Allen going to take that fight? I don't know. Is Josh Emmett going to take that fight? I don't think so, man.
But you know what? Like, I literally look at every single name here. Ortega, Rodriguez, Chan Sung Jung, Calvin Kattar, Josh Emmett, Arnold Allen, Giga Chikadze.
Dan Ige would take it.
These are all great matchups. And you know what? Bryce Mitchell has earned the respect of the fans. He's earned the respect of the UFC. And I think you give him any of these names, and it's going to be an entertaining and fun fight, man. Like, I was just blown away. So impressive. Shout out to you, Bryce Mitchell.
Yeah, seriously, man. Shout out to Thug Nasty. Only want the best for you. Shout out to Edson Barboza as well. We have to give him respect, man. The guy's just a fucking legend. And I know we saw it in the chat earlier. Like, he's just never been the same since the Khabib fight. I get that, and I agree with it, but I mean, it's still Edson Barboza. Like, he is one of the best strikers we've seen in the UFC, period. Yeah. He's very dangerous. He's got great jiu-jitsu as well, but man, he's just getting outclassed by younger guys. Is it time for Barboza to maybe start thinking about other ulterior things? I don't want him to not make money, obviously.
Right.
But, like, is it time for Barboza to maybe go, I think, let's just take money fights and then let's ride off into the sunset? Is that something that maybe Barboza should be thinking about?
It's not a bad take, and I think at this point of his career, like, he doesn't have any more like to prove. And what I mean by that is, like, we know who Edson Barboza is. He's a legend of the sport. He's had some of the best fights in the UFC, like, over the course of his career. But I think moving on with Edson Barboza, if I was a UFC and I was kind of managing Edson, I would really try to strategically match him up with other strikers, because it makes more sense, right? And it's just more fun that way. And there are primarily strikers in this division. He just fought Shane Burgos not too long ago. That was an awesome fight, dude. And it was kind of that delayed knockout was really scary and whatnot. But, you could do the winner of Sadiq Youssef, which Sadiq is fighting this week. Or next week, I should say, next Saturday. A guy like that would be great if he can get the win. There's plenty of guys in this division for Edson Barboza still. And if Edson wants to fight, sign me up. I'm going to watch. I'm always going to watch, man. I got so much respect for Edson, too. And Edson's another guy. He's another guy, man. He's a God-fearing man. He loves his family. Like, he's all about that life, and I respect him. So, whatever he wants to do in his career, I totally support. And as an MMA fan, we love you, Barboza.
All right, let's get these chats out of the way real quick. Joseph Bellotti, let's be honest, Barboza struggles with wrestlers. P.S. Mitchell versus Giga. Okay, I love that matchup as well. Yep. S. Dresden loves this kid. He is a God-fearing man, young, noble man. Joseph Bellotti, again, let's be honest, Barboza is puffed up 155-pounder. Yeah, I don't know how hard. He says he makes 145 way better than 155, which, okay, I get it, I guess, whatever. King Ken, shout out to you, King Ken. This is the first time I'm seeing you in the chat.
Ken King.
Oh, Ken Keen. My bad.
Ankalaev by KO.
Okay,
yeah,
okay.
Totally. I think so as well,
yeah,
man.
Maybe.
That guy's so fucking good.
Savage. Can't believe they robbed another Daggy in Tagir Ulanbekov. Elliot looked like crap. Disagree 100%.
Yeah, I don't think Tim Elliott looked like crap.
He looked good.
I thought he looked really good. The third round, he started to fade a little bit. But what I will say on the side of Tim Elliott is he was doing some shady shit, which is why Khabib Nurmagomedov got so incredibly frustrated. The grabbing of the glove and stuff. That's kind of the shit that I don't like to see typically, and like the fence grabbing and stuff. But, it is what it is. That was a very close fight. But yeah, Yeah, man.
It is what it is.
It is what it is.
All right, so Ken King last chat was Barboza to EFC. I don't know how many fights he has left on his contract, but I would not be shocked if we see Barboza and Bellator or Eagle Fight Championship or something like that.
And see, I think that'd be a great name. And again, I don't know Barboza's contract stipulations. I don't know how many more fights he's got left in the UFC. But again, like to move to an organization and help build another organization like
make
Eagle
more
FC
money too
would be great. I would love that. Absolutely would love that.
All right, let's get into Church Coin picks. I put 1,500 Church Coin on Bryce Mitchell. He was a minus 155 favorite. And that gave me a return of 967 Church Coin. Cosmo, you had Barboza for 750 Church Coin. You did not hit on that one.
And I put 1,500 on Mitchell. Or excuse me, I'm sorry. I read the wrong one. I put 2,000 on Barboza and lost that one.
All right, let's move on to the next fight. We had Kevin Holland versus Alex Cowboy Oliveira. Ooh, what a good fucking fight this was. And Alex looked good in that first round, too. He made it very competitive there for Kevin, but Kevin just did what he does, man. He caught Alex in that second round. He caught him with that elbow and then just came down and just rained big, giant shots on him, and they had to end the fight.
They did.
They had to.
You know, I thought Oliveira at one point in that first round, this is the actual highlight. And keep in mind, there were a lot of great fights, and I'm kind of joking here half-heartedly, but like one of my favorite moments of last night was Oliveira trying to get the rear naked choke, and then Kevin goes like this and smiles and gives two thumbs up as he's trying to submit him, like not even defending the choke or anything. It was fucking bonkers. It was wild, but I really did love seeing that.
That's why I love Kevin Holland for stuff like that. A lot of people are like, dude, take it serious. You're in a fight.
Well, obviously,
be serious.
Obviously, he's taking it serious.
Come on, guys.
He's in the toughest fight organization in the world. Of course, he's taking it serious. But the guy likes to have fun. Don't shit on a guy who likes to have fun in the octagon. And guess what? The next round, he went out there and TKO'd Alex Oliveira. So, what are you going to say on that?
It is what it is.
It is what it is. I'm ready to see Kevin Holland fight a top 15 guy in this welterweight division.
Wow, it only took for you one fight, huh?
That's all it takes, dude. I mean, look at the guy. Look at what the guy has done in middleweight.
Yeah.
He's defeated some of the best. He was ranked at one point. He was working his way up to maybe a top 10 matchup there. I think he is a top 15 guy at the welterweight. I'm going to say it. I think he might be a top 5 guy at welterweight division. I think he could contend with some of the best of them. Let's test.
I got a name.
Okay, go ahead. Let's
Coming off
test
that Hamzat Chimaev loss.
Ooh, I know.
Li Jingliang.
Sign me up.
Sign me up for that one.
Sign me up. Or Ponzinibbio. You got Jeff Hands of Steel Neal, Chiesa. And remember when Hamzat Chimaev was first on the opening run? I was saying I want to see Kevin Holland, Hamzat Chimaev. I know now Hamzat's going to fight Gilbert Burns, probably going to smash him, probably going to get a title shot. So now that's probably off the table until
and I don't want to see that with Kevin Holland and his takedown defense. His wrestling is still not there. I do have a lot of respect for Kevin Holland, but it's just not there. I do not want to see Hamzat Chimaev, but Li Jingliang. That's a matchup I'd love to see, dude. The striking exchanges between those two would be a lot of fun.
Absolutely. 100% echo that sentiment. Shout out to Kevin Holland. You're one of my favorite fighters, man. And you always are so fucking entertaining. Man, all due respect to Alex Oliveira, but Kevin Holland's the real deal.
Yeah.
Kevin Holland is the real deal. Let's get into Church Coin picks. I had 1,000 Church Coin on Kevin Holland. That gave me a return of 417 Church Coin. Kevin Holland was a big favorite in that one.
Yeah, I put 1,400 Church Coin on Kevin Holland and got a return of 583.
All right, let's move on to the opening fight of the main card. Sergey Spivak versus Greg Hardy.
Yeah.
Spivak just did what everyone thought he was going to do, really.
Well,
I mean, Greg Hardy was just like the one touch of death. That's all he was really going for, right?
With one caveat. Greg Hardy, typically in the first 2 minutes of round one, is where he is most dangerous, right? If you can get Greg Hardy past those first couple minutes, typically things are looking good for you. But Spivak didn't even give him time. I mean, he KO'd him in the first round. He dominated right away, took him down, and smashed him, dude. Absolutely smashed him. This is now 3 straight losses for Greg Hardy in this heavyweight division. Dana White in the post-fight press conference was asked, what are we doing with Hardy? Is he still going to fight in the UFC? And Dana goes, that's a conversation that we're going to have. And then someone asked him, is Greg Hardy's contract up after this fight? And he goes, you know what? I don't even know. He goes, but these are conversations we're going to have. Last night, maybe the last time we ever see Greg Hardy in the octagon for the UFC, at least for a while.
He would be way more competitive in Bellator. He would be way more competitive at Eagle FC and all these guys. So I think that's the perfect route for him. I just don't think he's a top guy in the world. It is what it is. He just hasn't been fighting long enough. He hasn't developed those skills, and he's getting better. Like, we all saw the development over the years with Greg Hardy. He has been a lot better, but I mean, it's just not there yet.
Yeah.
It's just not there yet on this UFC level. So I get it. I think he's going to Bellator. I think he's going to Eagle FC. Name an organization, he's probably there.
Yeah, because I mean, this fight is short, simple, and to the point, but Spivak just absolutely dominated, man.
There's just
Looked
levels
really
to it,
good.
man. There's
Yep.
levels to it. Spivak just had too much experience and too much technique. It was just too much for Greg. So shout out to Greg Hardy. Shout out to his pile of guns. Shout out to Spivak for that.
Bro, I was not expecting that. I was not expecting
That was a bad joke. But yeah, shout out to Spivak. I mean, what do we do with him now? He was ranked, right? Or is he not ranked in this heavyweight division? Spivak is not ranked, so I'm giving him a ranked matchup. Give him Sergey Pavlovich. Give him Walt Harris. Give him fucking Augusto Sakai. Why not?
Give him Francis Ngannou. No.
Yeah,
Such
give
a
him
bad
Ty
take.
Tuivasa. Give him Stipe. No, it's just a shout out to Spivak. You know, he did what a lot of people thought he was going to come in and do.
Yep.
So let's get into church coin picks. I just threw 100 church coin on Hardy. He was a huge underdog, and I thought, you know, I wanted to keep more church coin on Colby and all those guys, so I just did minimum bet.
Yeah, you know, typically when guys are on a 2-fight losing streak, you know, they got to win that third fight. And I knew Greg Hardy was going to go out there and try to throw bombs. Didn't even get really an opportunity to do that, so I was absolutely wrong on the betting on the first 2 minutes here. I put 1,000 church coin on Greg Hardy and lost that.
All right, so Cosmo, you had a 220 on Spivak. They gave you a return of a 100 church coin. Let's talk about the main event of the prelims: Jalen Turner versus Jamie Malarkey. There was a little bit of malarkey in the cage last night, and it just didn't hold up for malarkey there. I mean, Turner's fucking good. Yeah. Turner hit him with that power and just ended the fight. Malarkey couldn't do nothing. Turner got on top of him and just started raining down heavy shots, and you know, it is what it is.
It is what it is.
Yep. It's P6. Yeah, so we have P6 and 7, because we'll talk about Marina Rodriguez after this, just briefly. Jalen Turner, though, man, holy shit, this guy is fun. He's electric. He's got so much power.
P's are the previews.
Or yeah, I'm sorry.
It should be
whatever
F6.
it is. F6, my bad.
Yeah, there we go.
Whoopsie.
Yeah, so Turner just completely dominated Malarkey.
Yeah.
And it is what it is there, man.
It is, man. Very impressive performance. I mean, what do we do with Jalen Turner?
I don't know. He's not ranked, right?
Yeah, he's not ranked. I don't think
Maybe
we give
one
him,
more.
Yeah, I say one more unranked guy, and then after that, if he can get another really impressive win after that, maybe throw him to a top 15. This lightweight division is just so incredibly stacked. It's so hard to work your way to a top 15 matchup. So maybe 1 or 2 more fights, but I do like his future very much so.
Yeah, he's a guy that we're going to be watching for sure.
Yep.
So shout out to Jamie Malarkey. Shout out to Jalen Turner. That fight was very entertaining. But like you said, let's talk about parlays real quick, and then we'll talk about the Marina Rodriguez fight.
Yep.
So my parlay was, I had Faizeev in there, but Faizeev obviously dropped out. So last night I changed that and I just took him out. But I had Colby, Mitchell, and Holland. So I hit that for 500 church coin. That gave me a return of 1,018 church coin on my parlay.
Yeah. My parlay here, it's just real unfortunate for me because I really liked the plus value for Barbosa, but Mitchell again did what he did. Incredible performance. I had Holland, Barbosa, and Covington for 1,000 church coin. Did not hit that.
All right, Cosmo, you literally had all 5 of your picks in your parlay, and you did not hit on Barbosa or Malarkey. So, you know,
It is what it is.
you lost your church coin there. So let's talk about new church coin totals real quick. After adding it all up, I am the new undisputed church coin champion. I ended the series off with 13,400 church coin. Cosmo, you ended up in the negative, so we're just going to say you ended up with 0 church coin, unfortunately. Mason, you were in a close second place with 9,042 church coin.
Yeah, I think since we started the belt, I think this was the closest we've all been, especially going into the final week for the new church coin champ. But congratulations again, and I'll be gunning for you next month.
All right, let's see what happens. But let's talk about this Marina Rodriguez versus Yan Xiaonan matchup. Holy shit, dude.
This was one that could have been fight of the night.
I think it was fight of the night. Like,
No,
it should have been
Yeah,
at
yeah,
least
should
because
have
it was
been.
my fight of the night.
I
It
see
might
what you're
not have
saying.
been fight of the night, but it was my fight of the night, if you understand what I'm saying.
Right. But yeah, no. It was an absolutely great fight and a split decision too. And I know some people were upset. Some people thought Jan won that fight. But man, it was just so close. But the exchanges these two ladies had were just unbelievable. And I'm telling you right now, guys, we talk about this all the time, but women's divisions, like especially the strawweight division, they put on some of the most entertaining fights, not just in the women's like divisions. I'm talking about overall in the UFC, man. Like hats off to these girls. Like they go out there and they put everything on the line. I genuinely get more excited for strawweight matchups, especially top 5, top
Oh, it's the
10.
best. It's the best women's division, easily.
It's one of the best divisions in the UFC.
Period.
Period, dude. Like, and I love it. One of the greatest things UFC ever did was allowing women to fight because, dude, they have put on some of the best fights in UFC history. You know, Joanna versus Zhang.
That's amazing.
Maybe the best fight in UFC history. So shout out to these two girls, man. They went out there, put everything on the line. Marina Rodriguez via split decision. What do we do next now with both these fighters? You know,
Okay, so Marina's the next girl.
Yeah,
After, I mean, we have not Watterson.
Santos.
No,
Or no, that's,
it's
Shevchenko.
Rose versus. Why am I forgetting her? Carla Esparza. That's gonna happen next. That is the next title fight. Marina just needs to sit and wait, bro. Unless Joanna comes back. And then they want to do a number one contender fight with Joanna and Marina Rodriguez or something like that. That's like the only matchup she takes.
Well,
just because it's a massive fight.
A little birdie told me that they're going to do the rematch.
Joanna and fucking Zhang?
Bro, there's rumors and speculations, but if that is true, that needs to, and call me crazy, guys, that needs to fucking headline a pay-per-view.
Sign me up.
I don't care if there's a title on the line. The same way UFC 272 didn't have a title on the line. Give me that for 5 rounds, please.
Yep, sign me up.
Because I will be standing up in my seat being like this that entire fight. But yeah, I totally agree with you, Tabor. Marina Rodriguez, at this point now, being number 3, defeating number 4, Yan Zidane, she absolutely has to sit out, see how things go with Carla Esparza and Rose Namajunas, and she is the next girl in line for the strawweight belt.
All right. Shout out to everyone that is here in the chats. I see Pardon My America podcast is in the chats. He says he got rocked today. Shout out to you guys. Thank you so much for coming on the Fight Companion last night. We had an absolute fucking blast. You guys made that so much fun. So shout out to you guys also. S. Dresden said Turner looked good. And then S. Dresden also said Kevin versus Luque for me. Ooh. Kevin Holland versus Vicente Luque. It might be a bit much.
It might be a little bit much. I think Vicente Luque is on a very impressive win streak here. He really deserves a top contender. You know, obviously Bilal Muhammad, that fight's going to come up here in about a month or so, or a little less than a month. I think we're a couple weeks out from that one. And then the winner of that, if Luque can get past that, he might be the next guy in line, dude.
Yep.
I mean, he might have to be, you know?
100%. Hey, Mason.
Yes.
It's MMA news time. I don't know how long we're going to go on this one, but if there's only one thing we're going to talk about this MMA news segment. It was the biggest news of the week. Yeah. I don't even know where how to start this because it's dark. It's fucked up. It's a terrible story. But news broke midweek this last week that Cain Velasquez was arrested and charged on attempted murder charges. And that was shocking to a lot of people. They're like, what? He
has been a model citizen, a stand-up guy his whole life, his whole career. So like when the news broke of this initially, I had zero context. And I'm like, what? Cain Velasquez, someone screwed this up in the media. There is no way a guy as good as Cain Velasquez, good as human being as Cain Velasquez, attempted to kill someone. I need some more information. And then as the information started to come in, we started to learn a lot of very disturbing details of what went down in the absolute failure of the justice system to begin with. You know?
So let's give that context. So yeah, go ahead. I'll let you do it. You'll probably explain it way better than me.
So long story short, guys, Cain Velasquez's daughter was in a family daycare.
It was his niece. It wasn't his daughter. It was his niece.
Was it?
That's what I heard. Yeah.
Was it? Because I just saw it this morning that
it was his daughter.
It was a daughter.
See, I saw conflicting things. I saw people were saying it was his daughter. A lot of people were saying it was his niece, and I don't know.
So either way, let's just say a close family member.
Very close family member.
Very close. Was going to a family daycare, and guys, we're gonna try to keep it a little, we're not going to go into awful details, but the niece or the family member was at this daycare, and over 100 times there was a man there who I don't know how to use the word. Yeah, molested this child, this very innocent child, like an 8-year-old or a 9-year-old, over 100 times. And the guy was charged, and then the DA just let him off. Didn't keep the guy in jail.
No bail, no nothing.
No bail, no nothing.
Well, what happened was he got charged with the felony for the indecent, acts. But it wasn't that he got let off. It was that he had a supervised leave. So, I mean.
Right.
That's just lawyer talk for let him go.
Yeah.
Because now he's a flight risk. He's going to leave.
Yeah, exactly. And, Cain felt at least my interpretation of this, he felt like
robbed.
He felt robbed. Like the justice system should never do that. They absolutely failed the man. And yes, he did take matters into his own hands, but like to understand that rage, to understand like your one job in life is to like protect your family and to be there, and to find out that someone did this over 100 times. Like it's just so despicable and disgusting. And I understand that rage. And I know we were talking a lot and you guys were like telling me to like, hey, slow down on the whole free Kane thing. But you know what? There are situations in life where you look at something like this and you go, you know what? Let him, like, I get it. And not only that, but like, I guess Cain Velasquez shot at the car multiple times, and he ended up hitting.
He shot the guy's father.
The guy's father.
Because and not only that, but he chased him down in his truck and rammed their truck off the road multiple times,
Right.
and then finally got them to stop. And he was unloading shells as they were driving as well.
Yeah.
So he was shooting recklessly, and he hit the car multiple times, and he ended up shooting not the guy, but the guy's father multiple times. Yeah. It's
And,
just it's an insane fucking story.
It is an insane story, and the saddest aspect of it is they're looking at slapping the book on Kane.
But they let the guy fucking walk.
But
they let the guy fucking walk. But they're gonna put Kane 20 to life. They're gonna throw the book at him. He gets no bail. What the fuck, dude?
I think we can all agree the most egregious crime you could ever commit on this earth.
Yeah.
And the man walks, but they're gonna throw the book at Cain Velasquez. Fuck you. And you know what? If you give Kane some time, okay, it is what it is. I get it. Like, he did take the law into his own hand, whatever. But, bro, like, if you're going to put him in prison or jail, like, give him a year or two and then probation, like, but to throw the book at him.
And to ruin his life.
It's disgusting.
Ruin his life.
It's
and not only,
disgusting.
like, as ruined as, like, his family member's life is already, because, like, a lot of people, like, that'll ruin your life, those situations. You know?
Absolutely, man.
But now he's never going to be part of,
trauma.
he's not even going to be part of their lives anymore, because they're going to lock him up, man. It's like, what is going on in this country? Like, you're going to put him away, but you're going to let the dude that led up to all of this walk.
Yeah.
It makes zero sense. Like,
It's
what
so
is going
ass
on?
backwards,
We're living
man.
in the fucking Twilight Zone right now, dude.
It is. We're living in some weird alternate universe where
completely
nothing
fucking
makes any
backwards,
fucking
bro.
sense, dude. So yeah, guys, we're a little heated about that. That's the MMA news. And it's just, you know, Kane, our hearts are with you, man. Like, you were the first guy. Like, I remember back in 2009, my sophomore year in high school, I wrote a big report on Cain Velasquez. He was my favorite fighter. I looked up to him. I just loved the human being that he was and everything encompassing him. So it hurts, man. It hurts to see that this situation had to go down. It sucks, but our hearts are with you, Kane.
Yeah.
They really are, man.
Yeah. I hope
understand.
there's one guy when this goes to trial, because it will. I hope there's one guy in that jury that just goes, no. I'm not gonna take this man away from his family, because that's all it's gonna take.
For 20 to life.
Yep. You get a hung jury or something like that. Like, I'm not a religious person, man, but if you guys are, pray for Cain Velasquez. Yeah. Pray for his family. Pray for his family member that this happened to.
This whole situation is just
it's
awful.
Dark. It's terrible. Like, we don't want to come in here and have to talk about this shit, but it's like it's the biggest news right now. Everyone's talking about it. He has so much support. The entire MMA community is coming together around this right now.
Yeah, did you see Derek Brunson already raised over $10,000 for his legal funds?
And he's going to raise even more. He's
really
selling
great,
free
man.
Kane t-shirts.
Yep.
So let's just talk about the free Kane stuff, because a lot of people are coming back saying this man needs to be released immediately. Is that going to happen? Like, I think it's going to go to trial. I think they're going to try and fucking put him away.
Yeah, how about this? Joe Biden, do one thing right in your fucking administration and pardon the man.
It's not going to happen.
I would have so much respect, and I'll quit making fun of you.
It's not going to happen. It's not going to. No.
And
I agree.
We won't sell any more Let's Go
No,
Brandon
fucking,
t-shirts.
I will
burn this shirt.
If
Joe Biden, pardon the man.
If that happened, dude, I would vote for Joe Biden just for that. And we all know where my stance is on that, man.
Gosh.
It's just,
Let's go AOC.
yeah. I will be a Democrat for life if that happened. It's not happening, dude. It's just so fucked up, bro. I hate this story. I really do. This is not what I wanted to talk about today, but we needed to.
Yep.
So I don't know how we move on from there. You know, all the love to Kane, all the love to his family. And hopefully.
The preview show.
Yeah,
That's the only way we can. It's such a weird transition,
it's-
guys.
it's terrible.
It's a tough
It's terrible.
transition to make.
Yeah, so pray for Kane. All thoughts and prayers are with you, man, and with your family as well.
Absolutely.
Let's move on to the preview show. I'm like trying to hype myself up.
Hey.
Like trying to hype. Okay, forget about all that crazy shit we just talked about. We have a fantastic main event, Mason.
Oh, yes, we do.
Fantastic main event. And I'm looking at the card. It's a good fucking card as well, dude.
This is a fantastic fight night. Legitimately, from top to bottom, especially on this main card, is absolutely incredible. I mean, do we want to do a quick rundown real quick? We got
Sure.
And then we'll break them down and make our picks. But Thiago Santos versus Magomed Ankalaev. That's going to be the main event. That's a light heavyweight fight. And then the bantamweight co-main is Marlon Moraes versus Songya Dong. Featherweight Sadiq Youssef versus Alex Caceres. Khalil Roundtree versus Carl Roberson. Drew Dober versus Terrence McKinney. He's taking that fight on 2-week notice. Are you kidding me or what? Alex Pereira, the one guy to beat Israel Adesanya against Bruno Silva. I mean, goodness gracious, dude. This is I think probably the best fight night this year thus far.
It's a
as
good
far
one.
as stats,
It's a
man.
great one.
These are 6 phenomenal fights.
Absolutely.
So I'm very excited for this.
Yeah, so as always, guys, let's start at the top. Main event of the evening, Thiago Santos versus Magomed Ankalaev. Thiago Santos is coming in at a plus 350 to a minus 450 Magomed Ankalaev.
Wow.
As always, Mason, do you agree with this line?
Yes. And I'll tell you why. Man. Thiago Santos, after that John Jones fight, I felt like he has been a lot more hesitant in his career. That Alexander Rakic fight, super hesitant. He did bounce back. He did beat Johnny Walker. But again, Magomed Ankalaev, dude, this guy has a chin and he's got power in his hands. And this is a guy who is not shy at all. Magomed Ankalaev will go there. He will go toe-to-toe, and he will swing until one of you is dead. And that's why I believe in this line, man, because Thiago Santos, he has not been that same. And not only that, no disrespect to Santos. I think he's a wonderful fighter and a top guy, but he's also 38 years old. Magomed Ankalaev isn't even 30 yet. He's 29 years old. I mean, this guy's got so much time to develop even more. So I actually like this line quite a bit. I know it's heavy odds, heavy favorites here for Magomed Ankalaev coming in at minus 450. It's just absolutely insane. But yeah, man, I do like the line. And not only that, but Ankalaev is 16-1 as well. Completely dismantled Ian Cutelaba not once but twice, man. Well, the first one was kind of bullshit, but then he sealed the deal in that second one when he got a MyPillow and went to bed. So
Shout out to
Mike Lindell.
Shout out to Mike Lindell.
He's got to sponsor the UFC, bro. I'm telling
so
you. It'd
funny.
be so funny. You could do so many MyPillow promos.
Yeah, so Thiago Santos was on that losing streak. He lost to John Jones, then he lost to Glover, and then he lost to Alexander Rakic also by decision. And now he did bounce back last year against Johnny Walker in that fight night, that main event. He completely dominated Johnny Walker there. And so now he's getting Magomed Ankalaev on this fight. Ankalaev is a fucking complete, absolute savage, bro.
Yeah.
Savage. Wrestling on point. Striking, fucking beautiful, fantastic. He doesn't need to use his wrestling. Like, that's how dangerous this man is. He does not need to use his wrestling. He could just completely outstrike dudes on the feet. And now he's going to fight probably the heaviest hitter in this division, a guy with one-punch knockout power, a guy who's going in there and trying to take your head off. But we have to ask this. Thiago Santos has not been the same since that John Jones fight.
Absolutely.
He's been extremely timid. He is not going for the KO. He is not putting his heart out on the shield like he used to. Do you remember who was that English dude that Santos just went to fucking war with? I cannot remember his name. His name.
English dude?
An English dude. Look up his last win before the John Jones fight real quick.
Jan Blachowicz.
Okay, then before that.
And then after that, in 2018, it would have been Jimmy Manuwa.
Jimmy Manuwa. That fight was insane, dude. Insane. Those two were like, someone's going to fucking sleep right now.
That's right. Okay, I remember that now.
They're just back and forth. Both guys were rocked, and then Santos just put him to bed. Put him to bed bad. So, I mean, it's insane. It's insane what we could see here. The striking matchup, it's beautiful. Because Magomed Ankalaev fights like a lightweight, dude. He has fantastic footwork. He has fantastic kicks, fantastic hands. I cannot wait to see what happens here on the feet. And if Ankalaev gets caught, he could get put to bed. And if he's rocked bad, he could resort to his wrestling. I absolutely 100% agree with this line. At a minus 450, I know it's not good returns there, but I mean, if I have to bet the house on someone, it's Magomed Ankalaev. I mean, let's look at his UFC career. Cutelaba twice. Krylov destroyed him in a decision. Ozdemir destroyed him in a decision. And now he's got Thiago Santos. I would not be surprised if Magomed Ankalaev puts Thiago Santos' lights out.
Oh, I would not be shocked at all.
Yeah, that's just how good he is. But you have to respect Santos' power. It only takes one. And Santos is developing his game. I know he's been timid as of late, but if he goes out there like a behemoth and just goes for the kill, he could without a doubt get it. This is a very good matchup. I love this main event, and I cannot fucking wait to see what happens. Let's get into my picks. So, like I said, minus 450. I don't like that at all.
Yeah.
I don't like that at all. But
as far as a betting man, just because, it takes so much to win so little.
Yeah.
But I mean, I like the line. It makes sense.
It makes sense. It's just that's how good Ankalaev is. I mean, like I said, wrestling, everything. I'm just going to do it, dude. All in on Magomed Ankalaev.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, I have to. I think he's a sure lock in, and I'm just going for as many church coin as I can right off the bat there. I know it's a terrible line. I'm probably going to put a lot of church coin on some of these other fights as well, so it might not be the most church coin. It'll probably be like 4,000 or 5,000 or something like that. But I do believe that is an easy 1,000 church coin for me there.
Okay. Yeah. You know, I'm going to go to the different route. I'm actually going to put the bare minimum bet. I'm just going to put 450 church coin on Magomed Ankalaev here for 100 church coin return. I think that's pretty easy, but I'm going to make some bigger bets down this card that I think have a little bit better value. But yeah, I think Ankalaev is a lock-in for this main event. No questions asked.
Yeah.
Moving on.
Yeah, moving on to the co-main event of the evening, we have Marlon Moraes at a plus 200 to a minus 240 Song Yadong. This is a great fucking matchup, dude. This is the matchup Song Yadong's been asking for. This is a matchup he deserves. I love this fight. Song Yadong's young, very young up-and-coming fighter. He's not even close to his prime. He's still developing his game, yet he is so dangerous on the feet. Yeah. This man can bang with the best of them, and he's going to go in there with Marlon Moraes, another fantastic striker, a guy with great jiu-jitsu as well. I just can't wait to see what happens. I'm not going to lie. I agree with this line, too. A plus 200 for Marlon. Marlon's on a bid skid.
He is on a skid.
Yeah, it's been rough for him. It's been real rough for the guy. And he's getting savages only. I mean, when you make your way up to the title fight, you're only fighting savages, period. And Song Yadong is that. He's a fucking complete savage. I'm going to take Song Yadong in this fight. I'm just going to be honest. I'm probably going to throw 1,000 church coin on Song Yadong. I think that'll be a decent return at a minus 240.
Yeah, and just to talk a little bit more here about Song Yadong, you know, he's 24 years of age, okay? Back when he was 22, he beat Marlon Chito Vera, and then 2021 was a very active year for Song Yadong. He had 3 fights. He did fall up short against Kyler Phillips, but bounced back against Casey Kenny, looked really good in that fight. And then his last outing in 2021 was against Julia Arce, I should say. This Marlon Moraes is definitely a step up in competition, former champ. It's going to be hard. Marlon has been on a big skid here, you know, getting top of the top guys. I was really impressed with Merab Dvalishvili in that last fight where he beat Marlon. But man, Marlon is on a huge skim, losing to the best of the best, guys like Rob Font and Sandhagen and whatnot. But geez, man, this is a tough matchup again for Marlon Moraes. I'm going back and forth on this because I do like the value here at a plus 200 for Marlon Moraes, and I still think he's a top contender in this division, but Song Yadong has looked so good. I'm rooting for Song, but I'm going to place a bet on Marlon Moraes here at a plus 200. I'm going to lay 1,500 church coin on Marlon Moraes to win. I just like the experience a little bit better here. Song Yadong is still very young. I think this is a big step up in competition. But if Song gets the job done, I would not be surprised. But give me 1,500 on Marlon Moraes for the win.
All right, let's move on to the next fight. We have Sadiq Yusuf at a minus 230 to a plus 190 Alex Caceres, Bruce Leroy himself. This is a great matchup as well.
It is.
I like Yusuf a lot. He's got fucking fantastic hands, and he's got one-punch knockout power. And then you have the technical footwork and the crazy unorthodox karate style of Alex Caceres. Do you agree with this line? And do you who are you taking in this fight, Mason? Can Alex Caceres do it? Because Alex Caceres is one of these guys that like he's actually developing a lot, and he's looking a lot better as of late. I believe he's on like a 2 or 3 fight win streak right now.
No, he's on a 5-fight win streak.
A 5-fight win streak?
Alex Caceres is on a 5-fight win streak.
Oh my God.
Since 2019, he went out there, beat Steven Peterson, and then 2020, shout out to Austin Springer, but Alex did win that fight. Austin took that fight on very short notice. It is what it is there. But then, also beat a guy like Chase Hooper, who's still pretty young. Went out there, beat Kevin Kroom, and then Choi Sung Woo. Alex has looked very, very good. And I finally feel like this is a time in his career where he's putting all the pieces of the puzzle together. When he was on The Ultimate Fighter, we got to keep in mind he was a very, very young fighter. Super young. I mean, this guy is still in the prime of his career. He is 33 years old, and I think this fight is going to be super competitive. Sadiq Youssef had a very, very impressive fight his last outing against Arnold Allen, but did lose that fight via decision. This is a very tough matchup and a big step up for Alex. But you know what? I like Alex Caceres on the ground, man. He's crafty. He's sneaky with those subs, dude, and he'll pull them out of nowhere. I like this line, and I really like it for Alex Caceres here at a plus 190. I think Sadiq Youssef has got a lot of power. His striking is phenomenal. But if Alex Caceres can get this fight on the ground, man, I think he's got a really good shot of submitting Sadiq Youssef. Call me crazy.
Okay, no, I get that.
But I like Alex Caceres here at a plus 190. Those odds are really good here. So I'm going to put 750 church coin on Alex Caceres here for the win.
Okay, I'm going with the power. I'm going to take Sadiq Youssef in this fight. I think his striking is just too good, and it literally only takes one shot with him, and he's very, very, very good on the feet. He's got a lot of power in those hands. So I'm taking Sadiq Youssef. I'm going to put 500 church coin on him. I know he's a minus 230. It's not going to be the biggest return ever for me, but I mean, it is what it is. I just see him winning this fight. I love me some Bruce Leroy. He's a character. I love the man a lot. And 5-fight win streak is insane because I did not know that. But yeah, I think Yusuf's going to stop the streak. I think Yusuf's just going to be too much for him. So 500 church coin on Sadiq Youssef.
Okay.
Let's move on to the next fight of the evening. Khalil Roundtree Jr. at a minus 125 to a plus 105, Carl Roberson.
God, this is another great fight, man.
Yeah.
This is another just banger, dude.
Very well matched up.
And on the side of Khalil Roundtree, it's weird because like you don't typically hear this too much, but like this is one of those guys that I love. Every time he's on a card, I get so excited. The only issue with Khalil is I feel like he has like really impressive performances. Sometimes he'll go out there and absolutely blow you away. I remember he went to Thailand and did a stint there where he was training, and he came back with fire. Those leg kicks were insane, and he was just chewing up the legs, and then, he would fall short in his next fight. But again, he's still developing his game. He's 32 years old. He's still in the prime of his career. Carl Roberson, too, at 31 years of age. And Carl Roberson, too, man, has taken on very, very tough competition. He lost to Marvin Vettori and then lost to Brendan Allen, so he's on a bit of a skid here. But Khalil Roundtree, I think, is the absolute perfect matchup for him. Khalil did bounce back. He did win his last fight against Modestus Bukauskas. But man, I like the odds here. I think Vegas has got it right. I think Khalil Roundtree at a slight favorite is probably right on here. As far as a bet, though, this is really tough for me. But I got to go with my boy Roundtree. I love him. So give me 500 church coin on Roundtree for the win.
All right. I'm going to go the opposite direction. I'm going to take Roberson. I want the plus. I know it's plus 105, but still, it's like, I think Roberson's got it. I think he could do it. I think he can land the power. It's just what Khalil Roundtree shows up. Is it going to be the Khalil Roundtree that completely dominated? What's his name? Who's the guy he came back and fought? Eric Anders. Yeah.
Eric
Andre. Is that the guy? Is that the comedian?
Yeah, the comedian. Oh, that's funny.
That's funny. He's on Jackass. No, I think Carl Roberson's going to do it. I think I'm going with the power here. What Khalil Roundtree shows up? Is it going to be the timid Roundtree, the guy who's in his own head and can't get out of his mental stuff? Because that's been Khalil Roundtree Jr.'s kryptonite, really.
It has been.
It's been the mental
stuff. He's
stuff.
really a great fighter.
Fantastic
when he puts
fighter.
It all together, he's a very, very scary man who can get the job done against the best of the best, but it's what Roundtree is going to show up. But again, he's still got time. He's 32 years old, and I really do feel like he's still putting all the pieces together.
Yeah, so I'm going to take Robertson for 500 church coin. Let's move on to the next fight of the evening. Drew Dober coming in at minus 242, plus 200. Terrence McKinney, like you said, Mason, Terrence McKinney taking on this fight on very short notice. I'm very, very excited for this fucking matchup.
Oh, I love this
We
matchup.
only have 5 minutes. We're on a time constraint, so let's make this quick. I love Terrence McKinney. I think he's a fantastic fighter. He's an up-and-coming guy. I'm a huge fan of Terrence McKinney. I like Drew Dober, too. He's very fucking good. He was just on that cusp of a top 15, and he was a top 15 guy for a while, kind of dropped out of the rankings. I don't believe he's there anymore. Let me look that up just to see. No, he is not. But this is a big fight for Terrence McKinney. If Terrence McKinney beats Drew Dober, man, he's right there for a top 15 matchup. I love Terrence McKinney. He's a big dog in this fight. I know he doesn't have the most UFC experience, but this is a great fight for him. He could really shine in this matchup. Drew Dober's good, though. Very fucking good. And he's got a lot of power in those hands. So Terrence needs to avoid the hands, dance around him a little bit, hit him with some of those kicks, and land his own power. And he could even take Drew Dober down. We saw what Islam Makhachev did to him. Can Terrence McKinney, does he have the ground game to do it? Is he as well-rounded as he says he is? I'd love to find out. I'm taking Terrence McKinney at a plus 200. I think he's a great value here, but I would not be shocked if Drew Dober takes it. So I am taking McKinney for 500 church coin, Mason.
Yeah, you know what? Terrence McKinney is a very well-rounded fighter. I mean, he has KO wins. He's got submission wins. His last win was a submission win against Fares Zaim. And I really like Terrence McKinney here, dude. Another really young guy in this division. But Drew Dober is no joke, dude. This is a very tough matchup, especially taking this fight on such a short notice here. Obviously Drew Dober fell short against Islam Makhachev, but I mean, who doesn't, man. Drew Dober on a bit of a skid here too. Islam and Brad Riddell. Give me the dog here, man. I like it. Give me McKinney. I got to go with Terrence McKinney. I'm really rooting for him here. I hope he beats up Duber. So I am going to put the Dubes. I do like Duber. I just, he's got a face that is fun to punch. I don't know. He's a beautiful man. No, he actually is. Give me Terrence McKinney. Let's do 500 church coin.
All right. Let's move on to the opening fight of the main card. Alex Pereira at a minus 165 to a plus 140 and Bruno Silva. Just the experience level here is insane. I know Pereira's got a very, very high level kickboxing background, but this is not kickboxing, bro. This is MMA. Bruno Silva is a savage everywhere. If Pereira gets put on his back, can he defend there? Can he get back up to his feet? Does his takedown defense good enough to avoid those takedowns? Because I think he outstrikes Silva. I know Silva's good too. He's very good on the feet. He's a very well-rounded fighter. But if this stays on the feet, I'm going with the kickboxing background there. I love him at a minus 165. I think that's a decent line. I agree with the line. But the experience factor. Pereira's only had 5 fights. Okay? Bruno is 22-6. Man has had 28 fights in his career. There's a huge experience gap here. Can he close the gap and keep it on the feet? That's the biggest question. I'm going to take Pereira. I'm going to go 500 church coin on Pereira. I'd love to see him make a run. I'd love to see him and Israel go at it for 5 rounds in the UFC and see what happens there.
Okay. Yeah, for me, I'm on the other side of this. This should be very interesting for church coin this week, Taylor, because you and I have a lot of different picks here. But, as you were talking on the side of Bruno Silva and experience, he is on a very impressive win streak. He's on a 7-fight win streak. And since joining the UFC, okay, what was that? In June of 2021, he defeated Wellington Turman, who just had a very impressive win against Misha Serkinov last week. Has beat a guy, Andrew Sanchez and Jordan Wright. He's undefeated in the UFC. I really like Bruno Silva here. I like his experience. And I think he will get the job done. I think he'll probably take him down and submit him. So give me 2,000 church coin on Bruno Silva here at a slight underdog for the win.
All right, let's get into we did not talk about our prop bets for the main event. So my prop bet for the main event is Ankalaev unanimous decision for 250 church coin. I do want to take him by KO. But I think unanimous decision is probably more likely. I think Santos is going to find a way to avoid some of those powers, and I just think he's going to get outpointed by Ankalaev. So I think that's the most likely there, and I also think that is going to be a bigger line than Ankalaev KO. Yeah. So 250 church coin there. And now I'll let you go to your prop bet, and then we'll talk parlays.
So real quick, short, simple, to the point. Magomed Ankalaev KO. Give me 500 church coin on that. I like it.
All right. Parlays for the week. I'm doing a 4-fight parlay. I'm going Ankalaev, Song Yadong, Sadiq Yusuf, and Terrence McKinney for 1,000 church coin. I know I have 3 favorites there, but Terrence McKinney's a plus 200. Big dog there, so hopefully that gets me at a big return for 1,000 church coin. I'm hoping I hit that parlay and I fucking ride off into the sunset with this church coin early.
Okay. For me, I'm actually going to do a crazy parlay. It's week 1. Let's have a little bit of fun, guys. Give me the surefire win. Give me Ankalaev in this parlay. Give me Marlon Moraes coming in at a plus 200 underdog against Song Yadong. And then give me another dog here, Alex Caceres. I just have a really, really good feeling he's going to submit Sadiq Yusuf at a plus 190 as well. And that's all I'm going to do. I'm just going to do a 3-fight, but I've got 2 dogs in that. So if I hit that, that's going to be a great return. And I'm going to put 350 church coin on this parlay.
All right. Another one, Mason. Another fantastic one. We got to end this really quick. You got to get out of here. So as always, guys, go to our website, thechurchofmma.com. Get all of the links to our social media accounts there. You could also check out our Teespring and our Patreon. Guys, you do not have to go spend money on us. If you want to just support the show in a free way, share it on your social media accounts, man.
Smash that like button.
Smash the like button. All of that stuff. If you're not subscribed, subscribe to the channel. All of that stuff really, really helps, man. And we really appreciate the fuck out of everything you guys do. And one last shout out before we end the show to Pardon My American podcast last night. Guys, you made our nights, man. That was so much fun doing that podcast with you guys. And we were very excited, and it definitely lived up to the hype, man. That was one of the most fun fight companions I've ever done, man.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it was a great time. So shout out to the PMA guys. Thanks for showing up. Thanks for hanging out for 4+ hours. It was great.
Seriously. I was not time. Let's go. Let's do it. Hell yeah. So shout out to you guys. Like I said earlier, guys, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, at The Church of MMA. If you aren't following us already, make sure you go and do it. We're posting funny memes. We're trying to make you guys laugh. Hit us up.
Yeah, hit us up, guys. Thank you guys so much for watching and listening and becoming members of the congregation of the Church of MMA. My name is Mason Knight. That is Tabor Craig and Devin on the ones and twos. And until next time,
peace.